video, and today we're going to react to Most Critical State of Gaming. Let's get straight into it.
Good afternoon, my fellow gamers. As all of you know, I am one of you. I am an avid enjoyer of gaming. It's been a huge part of my life.
I play a lot of
entire
decent amount
life.
of games myself.
It's in my veins. It's in my blood. It's embedded deep in my DNA. My
Mostly
body
shooting
isn't
games.
powered by a heart. It's powered by another graphics card. It's a 4090 in here that's keeping this flesh mech suit online. I'm like Tony Stark, but nerdier. Anyway, I feel as though I'm the only one qualified to give you the State of Gaming address for 2024. Now, I've seen a lot of groaning and moaning, a lot of whining, complaining, a bunch of hoo-wee and hoo-ha and yee-haw about gaming industry is dying. It's this festering wound. It needs,
They won't be 10 when GTA 6 come out in 2025, of course.
It needs a huge change, this and that. And while I agree with some of the sentiment, I actually think there are signs that the industry is going in a better direction overall. And I'll explain what I mean, but I want to start with something obvious. A lot of the $70 games we've been getting recently are just terrible.
Yes, because he's done a review on a lot of them, and it's just crazy to see how many reviews. And he hasn't even reviewed some that are still trash and they cost so much.
Playing, definitely not worth paying.
They don't put any effort into them anymore.
Such as Suicide Squad, and most recently, the first quadruple A game, according to Ubisoft, Skull and Bones. Suicide Squad has flopped. Its player count has plummeted to under 1,000 players on Steam, and this is a live service game. This isn't just one of those like single player games where you expect a massive drop off. This is one of those things that's supposed to live on for a long time that gets people hooked like heroin. But the only thing it got them hooked on was the idea of better games, because that
because he played that game and I watched it and it's just so it's just so mid. I don't know.
That game has been largely a failure. And now Skull and Bones seems to be following suit, which is Ubisoft's latest super stinker. Which
I have no idea what that is.
Ship combat game without boarding. So it takes out the most fun part about being a pirate, the boarding, and reduces it to just being a cutscene. Quadruple A my ass. Unless all of those A's stand for different adjectives for how bad it is. Abominable, awful, abysmal, asinine. Like, it's so stupid to me how this game is out there right now in its beta or whatever for $70 when it doesn't even have boarding. Fucking Assassin's Creed Black Flag a decade ago has better ship combat and a lot more fun experience of being a pirate. It's crazy. I will not.
I don't play those games personally because that's not my type of games. But
play it as well as the reviews on it, and I think it is in an inexcusably bad state.
It's interesting.
This is just blatant garbage that's being put out here for a quick payday and a big infusion of cash. I don't foresee them ever actually.
I don't know why y'all are eating it up. It's like y'all are just. I don't know, y'all. These games, the trailers. I don't even think the trailers look good. The trailers look trash themselves, and if the trailers trash, I don't know why you're paying for a game, or at least go like watch someone else play it before you try to go buy it already, because it's always like videos of every single game out there. Almost, I think for most likely every single game out there that you might want to play, there's a video out there of somebody playing it, so you can get the gist of it.
This game good. I'll go ahead and put it on record here. We can check back in on this in 2 years if Skull and Bones happens to be the next biggest game on the planet. That's amazing. But I just don't see that happening, especially now with Ubisoft at the helm. It looks so
it's not hate,
painfully
it's just
mediocre.
saying like they don't put as much effort into it.
Mediocre at best.
Not hating.
The best
hating is saying that I wish they
Skull
don't.
and Bones is that it's mediocre.
I don't want them to get up. They're trash.
Paying $70 for mediocrity.
They just don't
and doing
try
it with a smile on your face, because I can't, and you shouldn't accept it either. And this is where I get into the positive news. Where a lot of these games have increased their price and decreased their quality, the gap in the market has only widened for people hungry for actually good games. Right. And that gap has been filled by smaller studios making smaller games. So like the $40 price tag games, for example. Those have been dominating 2024. Pal World breaking all of the records, basically.
Yes, but they're in a lawsuit with Pokemon right now, and understandably why. Everyone knows that I'm not saying Pal World's not a good game. It's an amazing game. But it's apparent that they took Pokemon's art style.
Helldivers 2 having this amazing blow-up. Over 400,000 concurrent players right now for Helldivers 2, and it's only growing by the day. And Helldivers 2 is an amazing game. It's full of passion and fun. I think it's one of the best co-op experiences I've had since Lethal Company. And speaking of Lethal Company, that's another example to what I'm saying. Last year
Y'all
we
want me to
saw
hop on that? Hey, I might make a couple edits about that one too. So we
Lethal
might
Company come
hop
out
on
and
to that.
absolutely spanked the cheeks of the gaming industry. Had it bent over their knee, disciplining them, showing them how it can be done. If you just make a fun game, it's a cheap game made by a single developer, and it took the whole industry by storm for a while, and it's still popular to this day. So,
Oh man, we get an ad. Charlie, how could you do this to us? Shaking my hand in the sky right now.
for a while, and it's still popular to this day. So we're seeing these games pop up that aren't blockbusters by any means. They're not $100 million production, fucking 10 years in development hell. These are games made by smaller teams that just deliver
Yeah.
unique and fun experience.
People love quick like Stickman games. Those games go so hard, and they're not even that hard to make. Like a Stickman game's budget is probably like $70 if we're being honest right now.
And it shows how hungry gamers are for that kind of product. I've said for a while, the future of gaming is not in more AAA titles that get more and more expensive to produce and spend more and more time in development. It's these games, these like AA games coming out that are cheaper.
Yes, if you're
price
able
point,
to
and still
produce them
offering
more frequently, then they will go up so much. I promise.
many hours worth
If
of
these
fun
big
to
studios
players.
would just
And we're
try
seeing that right
to
now.
go
You're
that
seeing
route.
how they're being rewarded with this level of success. And I think that is a great sign for things to come. I'm hoping this will start to push developers away from just, pumping out this formulaic, by-the-numbers, generic garbage like Suicide Squad, trying to capitalize off buzzword genres like lives.
Yeah, so like the narrative of bad games now is just Suicide Squad.
Even though there's nothing in there that makes the game actually worth playing, or most recently with Ubisoft.
Yeah, like
putting out
Apex, their new season. I like their new season. I'm not gonna lie, they've done a lot of changes to it. I like it. I've been playing it a lot lately. Had like 5 hours of gameplay, I believe, last night. That's it though. I'm gonna get more.
out the most bare bones pirate game ever, just to try and capitalize off that as well. I'm hoping companies will start to pay more attention to the success of these $40 games, these smaller games, and shift to that direction. Instead of spending 5 years developing a pile of mediocre garbage, why not spend a year or so developing something that's much smaller in scale, but tries to do something different that is just a fun game for maybe like 10, 15 hours even.
Yeah, you can make updates to it as you want to go along.
To keep a player hooked for like 80 hours plus by just delivering more escort missions like Suicide Squad aims to do. You can be satisfied by delivering like a $20 to $40 game that gives a player 15 hours worth of fun, and they're done with it by the end. That's totally fine. You get your money's worth, and that makes me excited. Now, granted, the 3 examples I've given of these massive games that are smaller teams, smaller price, Pal World, Helldivers 2, Lethal Company, those games have tons and tons and tons of hours worth of content in them for you to enjoy. But I still think there's nothing wrong if the industry shifts to making smaller games that are only like 15 hours worth of entertainment, as long as it's a really unique experience and it's fun.
Just make it not as like just try, because it seems like they're not trying. It just seems like they're just trying to come in, take money, and just not like the game at all.
And the price point being at that 20 to 40 range. Like the $70 price tag should be reserved for the really meaningful titles, like a GTA 6 style thing. Obviously, that's the most extreme example. But when you see a $70 price tag for something, you're expecting the highest level of quality. But right now, when you see $70 or $60, you could be getting the worst game of the year. Fucking Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash is a $60 game right now. And that game is unforgivably awful.
And
I think it's good news that these AAA developers are not being rewarded for it. Like again, Suicide Squad flopping, Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash, the most refunded game in history, I believe, according to one of the...
But the fact that they actually got it out there is crazy.
The articles I read
is what I'm saying.
Which makes sense because anyone that bought that game actually got scammed. Actually, just completely full-blown blatant.
Yeah, I seen this video on that. They actually put the screenshots from the game. From the show into the game as the cutscenes, and it wasn't really real cutscenes. It was just pictures and words, bro. They didn't even make real cutscenes.
So it makes sense everyone would be refunding it. And Skull and Bones looking like it's going to
be couldn't even get real cutscenes, bro. Like, oh my lord.
Productions that are being sold for $60 to $70 are not really turning a big profit for these companies. So I feel like they're going to start to pay a lot more attention to the smaller budget titles and
Or they can
the
continue not to
titles that they
care.
can actually do more with, because you won't need to invest years upon years of development time to it. You instead just need to invest into a good idea and a passionate team that can deliver something fun for a reasonable
Why
price.
spend years on it and not care about it? That's what I don't understand.
Like it's that simple, and we're seeing this proven time and time again now, more often now than ever. So I actually like the direction the gaming industry is going right now, because we're rewarding some of the more unique titles, the more fun titles like the Helldivers. Like, it's nice to see that. Recently, the most popular games haven't been dominated by AAA blockbusters just bullying indie titles or anything. It's actually been the smaller studios, the smaller, cheaper games that are
What is it?
annihilating
What's the
the big boys on the block.
name some?
And I just think that's great. So I'm excited to see if this
Is he not
trend
gonna name
continues
some?
throughout 2024. It's still
Besides
very early. We
Helldivers.
haven't seen the biggest heavy hitters of 2024 come out yet. So I guess that remains to be seen how exactly it's all going to shape up. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit because it put a smile on my face seeing the success of Helldivers today. Helldivers was really like the catalyst that made me want to talk about it, because I really love everything they've done with that game, and I love to see a game like that being rewarded in the way that it is. And I hope we see more things
Oh my bad, y'all.
like it
I mean,
throughout the year,
no.
and
Okay,
just
thank God I put
generally
it
in
on
the
wish.
future of gaming.
I thought I clicked
I
that
really
video.
hope we
I
can
was gonna
start
cry,
getting
y'all.
away from all of these massive $100 million games that just are soulless, just cash grabs, and we get back to having more AA titles out there. I remember in the Xbox 360 era, early in the 360's lifespan, there were so many games coming out from so many different studios that just had all kinds of creative ideas that they were just throwing
Right,
shit at
like
the
it
wall
was
to see.
Zumba. If you know what that is, it was Zumba. They had the what's it called? The one where they run the fox. I'm gonna figure out what that
What
is,
stuck.
but
And sometimes you had some hidden gems, some
it's
bangers.
just such
But nowadays, in the
good
mainstream
games.
gaming space, these giant players only invest heavily into like one or two projects and put all of their eggs in that basket. And most of the time, it's not turning a profit
If you
anymore.
would spread
Because
them
the
all
games
out
just
into
aren't
different
really
games for
hitting.
different people,
Like, some
it
of
would
them
be
are, of
so
course,
much better.
obviously. But
Because
there's been
it's
so many
focused on you're
flops
trying to focus
recently
on
that
a
you
broad audience, and that's just hard.
just
That's
keep hearing
hard.
about. It's not sustainable. You can't have every game take 6 years in development and cost 9 figures to develop. It's not going to work long term. So I really think the future is back into that $20 to $40 price range on games, smaller in scale, smaller in scope and development time, and you produce some interesting shit. So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's kind of where I think
Yeah, this was a good video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.